Last time we did till verse 13, I think, where we understood that each of us has 5 different characteristics, which are Naam, Roop, Asti, Bhati, Priya. Naam is our name, Roop our form. These two elements or these two characteristics of us are temporary. They go on changing. They are not our essential self. They are not who we really are. Name keeps changing. If you're a lady, when you are born, you are given one name, then you get married, your name changes, but you do not change. You have a name and you take sannyas, your name changes. But that doesn't mean you change, you are the same person. So, naam or name is not who we really are, though we identify with our name. Then, roop, form. Our form belongs to the body. The form goes on changing. When you are small, then you are a teenager, then you are an adult, then you are old. 6 changes our body goes through. Right? Conception, birth, growth, old age, decay, death. So the body goes on changing its form. But yet, the person who was a teenager, his concept of who I am is the same as the concept that that person has when he's old. The I doesn't change. What you imagined yourself to be, when you see your album, family album, you see yourself as a small baby, then you see yourself as a child, then you see yourself as a grown up. That same person is there, only the outside form has gone on changing. Sometimes you are tall, sometimes you are short, sometimes you are fat, sometimes you are thin, sometimes whatever. So that is also not who we really are. Then who are we really? Asti, Bhati, Priya. Asti, you always will exist. Asti means existence. Bhati, you always will be sentient. You will always have knowledge. You will always be conscious. And Priya, you will always be of the essence of Anand and love. That is who you are. That is your true nature. But when we see any object or any person, what we always identify with is Naam and Roop. We don't identify, or we are not even aware that there is something more than Naam and Roop in this person. There is also Asti, Bhati, Priya. So the scriptures tell us that this is what you need to do. Separate the Naam and Roop from the Asti, Bhati, Priya. Know that Naam and Roop is temporary. Asti, Bhati, Priya is the one that is always eternal. So you need to develop, as a spiritual aspirant, you need to develop that faculty of discrimination, which helps you when you see someone, say, this is Naam and Roop of Kiran, and this is Asti, Bhati, Priya of Kiran. That faculty you should be able to develop. That is what we call Vivek. Naam and Roop belongs to Jagat. Naam and Roop belongs to Sansar. Asti, Bhati, Priya belongs to the divine. One is Sat, the other is Asat. Which is the Sat? Asti, Bhati, Priya. What is Asat? Naam and Roop. And we are going to understand these definitions very, very clearly today. Today, one of the verses is Vedant 101. In this today's Updesh, Bhagwan Krishna is actually starting his Vedant Updesh. So it's very, very interesting. So what is this Sat, Chit, Anand? Sat is that urge in you to always live. Doesn't everyone have that urge? I want to live. I don't want to die. And not only live, I want to live forever. That urge is there of wanting to exist. That urge is called Sat. Chit. What is Chit? Chit is that urge to know. Everyone has an urge to know. And the highest knowing is knowing what is Paramatma, knowing who I am. But even if you don't have that urge, you still want to know what is going on in the world. You still want to know what your neighbors are doing. You still want to know what someone is saying. You still want to know history, geography, maths. That urge to know, that urge to learn, that is Chit inside you. That is what we call Chit. And Anand, the urge to be happy, the need to be happy, which is there in everybody. Everybody wants to be happy. There is no one who doesn't want to be happy. Okay? So this urge, the happiness may change for different people. The concept of happiness may change for different people. So you may want to be happy in many different ways. Somebody will be happy, whatever, getting money. Somebody may be happy traveling. Somebody may be happy eating. Somebody may be happy dressing. Somebody may be happy learning. But basically you're doing all this for happiness, and that urge to be happy or pleasured or sukhi or have anand, all that is called priya. So in this entire thing, where is Brahma? Is Brahma somewhere else or some other entity, or is it somewhere?
These are the characteristics of Brahma.
These are the characteristics of Brahma in the individual. In the individual, Brahma is in the form of Asti Bhati Priye. In the individual. So this urge which you have to exist, this urge which you have to know, this urge which you have to be in Anand, that is the Brahma in you, in the individual entity. And at the absolute entity, we call it Sat Chit Anand. So in the absolute, it is called Sat Chit Anand. In the individual, it is called Asti Bhati Priye. Is it clear or is it confusing? Nitila, you understood? In the absolute, it is called Sat Chit Anand. In the individual, the same thing is called Asti Bhati Priye. So we don't consider ourselves Sat Chit Anand. We consider ourselves Asti Bhati Priye. And whenever we merge with Brahma, that Asti Bhati Priye becomes Sat Chit Anand. Clear?
The essential difference then would be that Satchitanand is that urge not in the manifest world.
Yes, in the absolute. But right now, that Atma of us is still conditioned by this body, by the Nam Roop. So it is still bound in a way. So we call it Asti Bhati Priya. So up till now, when we studied the verses up till 13, we came to that part where Arjun was grieving. Why was he grieving?
He didn't want to kill his relative.
He didn't want to kill his relative, and in particular he grieved about two people, Bhishma Pitama and Dronacharya. How can I kill Bhishma Pitama? He is my, the head of my clan, and how can I kill Dronacharya? He is my guru. So, what Bhagwan Krishna is trying to make Arjun understand is what you'll be killing is the Naam and Roop of Bhishma Pitama and Dronacharya. But the Asti Bhati Priye of Bhishma Pitama and Dronacharya are eternal. So, what you're doing is only
Killing the form.
killing the
Form.
temporary part, not the permanent part. They will always exist, and in other words, so will you, Arjun. So will you always exist, so will Bhishma Pitama always exist, so will Dronacharya always exist, so will all of you always exist, so will I always exist. What gets destroyed, what gets burnt at the time of death, what gets dropped at the time of death is the temporary Naam and Roop. Now, as human beings, we have been given certain powers, certain capabilities which differentiate us from animals, right? The first is that as soon as you are born a human being, you have the capacity to recognize yourself as Aham Brahmasmi. That power is within everyone who has taken human birth. To think that I am a papi, or I am a buddhu, or I am a murk, or I am mood, or I don't have the capacity to know myself, to gain that enlightenment, that is your own limiting belief. Everyone who has taken human birth has that capacity. Whether you tap into it or not, whether you use that capacity or not, whether you remove the layers of kachra which are covering that capacity or not, you have the capacity.
The capacity to think.
The capacity to recognize yourself. First, you just have to recognize Aham Brahmasmi. That thought, for most human beings, that thought also doesn't come Aham Brahmasmi. The thought is I am man, I am woman, I am this, I am that, I am Indian, I am American, I am etc. etc. Start thinking of yourself as Aham Brahmasmi, because thought has power. Thought has power. The thought itself again and again is what will take you there, not your 101 sadhanas which you all do. It's the thought, that your belief, your nishtha, Aham Brahmasmi. Forget it, you are not enlightened yet. Okay, you still get angry. Okay, you still can't get over chocolate cake. Okay, you still whatever. Keep that thought. Aham Brahmasmi. What is wrong with that? Just believe it. Then, as human beings, we have the power to think. Animals don't have that power. First to recognize Aham Brahmasmi, then the power to think. We have the power to discriminate between Asti Bhati Priye and Naam Roop. We have that power. So when we don't use this power, when we don't use this capability, when we don't use this gift, what are we? Animal. We have reduced our capabilities to animal level. We are so busy discriminating against so many other things. ये अच्छा है, वो बुरा है, ये लड़की ऐसी है, but लड़का ऐसा है, my husband is like that, my wife is like that, my child is like that, my teacher is like that, my friends are like that. That is all going to keep changing. That is not the reality. Focus on what is important. Focus on what needs to be focused on. So in addition to this power that we have to think, We also have one more power or capability that animals don't have. Speaking, language, communication. Animals make noise. We speak. We can articulate our thoughts. Animals cannot articulate their thoughts.
We also make noise.
We also make noise. So when we make noise, instead of communicating, we have also reduced ourselves to animal level. Animals cannot pass on information to each other. They can't sit like this in satsang and all. They cannot evolve. Animals cannot evolve. In animal yoni, you are stuck there. Only in human birth, we can evolve to higher and higher levels of existence. They cannot teach each other. They do things according to their instincts. See, if I'm building a home, let's say, then I can go and see, acha, what has Gopal built, what has Ritu built, what has Kiran built, what has Vivek built, and I can learn and I can do. But no crow as yet has learned to build the nest like the tailor bird. The crow will build the nest like the crow has always built. The tailor bird will build it as the tailor bird has always built. So they can only make noise, they cannot learn, they cannot evolve. So we need to use our power of communication at the level that human beings are meant to use it. If not, again we are going down to animal level. And we also have the power to think and speak simultaneously. As we are speaking, we can also think. As we are thinking, we can also speak. So it's a big power. We use these powers with so much granted. Oh, naturally, right now I am speaking also and I am thinking also, but I am not even conscious or aware that I am doing two things simultaneously. And that brings you to the next power of awareness. We have that awareness. We have the power to become aware of what we are thinking. We have the power to be aware of what we are feeling. We have the power to be aware of what we are speaking. And yet, we speak without awareness. Yet, we communicate without awareness. Yet, we are not conscious of what we are thinking and feeling. We just allow it all to come vomiting out. So this awareness is so beautiful. Like I can be aware of this object and this object. I can move my awareness. I can move my awareness from an object to myself. I can see the connection there. I can move my awareness from my body to my words. I can see the connection. When I say this, you see now I get goose flesh. I can do that. I can become aware of that. I can become aware of what I'm saying to what I'm thinking. I have that awareness. I can become aware of what I'm thinking and I'm feeling. And finally, I can be aware of who I am. This is the highest use of awareness. But we are only being aware of outside. Naam Roop. We are not using this superb power which we have to come closer and closer. Bring your awareness to higher and higher grounds, to subtler and subtler levels, till I am aware of who am I. You all can do it. We all can do it. That is your Swarup. We are concerned with Roop, but we need to go to Swarup. This Swarup is the actual I that I am, which never changes. The mind can change. The I never changes. The body can change. the I will remain the same. The age can change, the photograph of a person can change, still that I, which is my Swarup, will remain constantly the same. So, as Bhagwan Krishna starts his Updesh to Arjun, he doesn't start anywhere else except with this understanding: don't grieve. Don't grieve. That's the first thing he says. Don't cry. First thing. Why? Because the self is never destroyed. The self does not change. And when we talk about enlightenment, it's about getting that direct experience of that I, which you are, your own Swarup. Bhishma Pitama also will never get destroyed. Dronacharya will also never get destroyed. You, Arjun, you also will never get destroyed. So do not grieve. And why is it important for Arjun not to grieve? Because when you are grieving, you cannot understand anything. Your emotions are creating a turmoil. So first and foremost, stop crying. Don't throw a tantrum. Be calm. Listen to now the next 40 verses which I will be telling you and pay attention. Don't grieve. Okay? Verse 14.